Back when I was young, naive, and still had hope, I got a job at Megamart. Why? Because for some reason, Walmart didn't want to hire me, my guess. I didn't look depressed enough to match their vibe, wouldn't want me messing up their average. Anyway, I thought, how bad could it be? It's just scanning groceries and pretending to care. But on my very first shift, my manager, let's call him Greg, set the tone real quick.
All right, remember, the customer is always right. Are you even listening to me?
The irony? He'd been on his headphones for the past hour. Sorry? What? And that's when I realized I could get away with anything. Now let me introduce you to the clowns I worked with. Absolute menaces. There was Tyler at self-checkout. The only thing he knew how to do was shrug.
Hey, the machine says my card isn't working.
Bummer.
Then there was Mildred in the bakery. Mildred had been working there since sliced bread was invented. No one knew how old she was. Honestly, I don't think she knew either. Mildred, someone's asking if we have fresh croissants.
You know, I met Frank Sinatra in 1952.
Cool, Mildred. Super helpful. Then we had Ethan in produce. Ethan smoked exactly one brain cell's worth of weed before every shift and would just vibe with the fruits. Ethan, can you restock the apples?
Bro, do you ever think about apples? Like, really think about them?
No, Ethan. I don't think on the clock. And you don't think at all. Then there was Olivia. She worked customer service, which basically meant she was the human sacrifice for insane return requests. That girl had seen things. Every time someone approached her desk, she'd take a deep breath, like she was about to defuse a bomb. One day, a guy brought in a fish. Not a frozen fish, not a packaged fish, a whole, raw fish, flopping around in a plastic bag like it had somewhere to be.
I'd like to return this.
Sir, this is a live animal.
I bought it here.
This is a grocery store. We don't sell fish.
I bought it here.
And that's how Olivia quit on the spot. Took off her name tag, put it in the register, and walked out. I still think about her sometimes. Hope she's doing okay. After Olivia quit, customer service was never the same. We got a new guy, Ben. Ben was fresh out of college, bright-eyed, and thought he could handle anything. He lasted a week. His downfall? A man who tried to return half a watermelon.
Sir, it's just the rind.
Yeah, I ate the red part.
So, what are you returning?
The green part, I didn't like it.
That was the moment I saw Ben's soul leave his body. He didn't quit on the spot like Olivia, but he did go on his lunch break. And never came back. There was an old lady who came in every Wednesday at exactly 10 a.m. Let's call her Mrs. Jenkins. Mrs. Jenkins hated another regular, Mr. Thompson, for reasons unknown. Every time they were in the store at the same time, it was like watching two rival mafia bosses size each other up. One day, they both reached for the same box of oatmeal. Their hands touched. Silence. A standoff. Then Mrs. Jenkins whispered,
"Drop it, Thompson."
Mr. Thompson narrowed his eyes.
I was here first, Eunice.
Oh, a first name basis? This was serious. I was ready to break it up, but Mrs. Jenkins played dirty. She started coughing aggressively into her hand. Mr. Thompson yanked his hand back, like he just touched a hot stove. She smirked, took the oatmeal, walked away victorious. And I realized Mrs. Jenkins was kind of cool. One day, over the store's intercom, cleanup needed in aisle 7. Oh my God. We all turned to look at aisle 7. Then we saw it. A mystery turd. Just sitting there, in the middle of the floor, mocking us. How? Why? Who? We reviewed the security footage like detectives trying to solve a high-profile case. Nothing. The turd had seemingly appeared out of nowhere. Management called it an isolated incident. Then it happened again, and again. We had a serial aisle pooper. To this day, the case remains unsolved. Now, working in retail, you don't expect loyalty, but one betrayal cut deep. I was at checkout when a grandma walked up. Sweetest looking old lady. Soft voice. A knitting sweater kind of grandma. She handed me a bag of grapes. I scanned them. And then, she winked at me. I froze. She leaned in and whispered,
"I ate some on the way here. You don't need to charge me for those."
"Ma'am." I looked at the bag, half empty. She just smiled, like this was a normal thing. Like I was supposed to accept this. That day I learned something important. You can't trust grandmas. If you've never worked customer service, let me tell you, it's like being a therapist, but instead of clients, you get yelled at by middle-aged women who think coupons are a human right. One time, a lady came through my line trying to use a coupon from 1998. Ma'am, this expired over 20 years ago.
But I forgot to use it back then.
Oh, my bad. Let me just hop in my time machine and fix that for you. Or should I rewind your youth and memory while I'm at it? Then there were the price check warriors.
This says it's $2.99, but it rang up as $3.49.
Yeah, but you see here...
I demand justice.
Justice? Over 50 cents? Ma'am, go ask the rapper how much justice he's gotten over the years. And don't even get me started on people who pay in coins. One guy once handed me $7 in nickels. I spent so long counting them. I aged 12 years and saw the face of God. And let me tell you, she was one handsome mother. Then there were the kids. Oh, the kids. You ever see a toddler lose their mind in the middle of an aisle? Like full-blown exorcism level meltdown? We had that hourly. The Conjuring franchise should have filmed there. Pretty sure they missed some demons. One time, a kid just started screaming for no reason, stood in the cart, pointed at me, and screamed. Like I had personally betrayed him in a past life.
Sweetie, what's wrong?
At this point, I'm panicking. Did I look at him wrong? Was my existence offensive? What did I do? Then, he took a deep breath and said, in the most chilling voice ever,
It's not real.
"What does that mean? What does that mean?" I started questioning my own existence. Meanwhile, his mom just patted his head and said,
Oh, he does that sometimes.
"Lady, your child just shattered my reality like a Black Mirror episode, and you're acting like it's normal? Now, if you think working retail is bad, try working retail during Christmas. It's like the Hunger Games, but instead of survival, everyone's fighting over a half-price toaster. Black Friday? That's not a sale. That's war, and we didn't have enough medics. One year, 2 grown adults got into a fist fight over the last PlayStation 5. Sir, you're bleeding.
It's for my son.
Sir, I don't think your son wants your blood on his PS5, but carry on. This is better than any Christmas special. Then there was the great Barbie shortage of 2023. A woman grabbed me by the arm, panic in her eyes.
Do you have any Barbie dream houses left? My daughter needs one.
Ma'am, we've been out for days.
You don't understand. She needs one.
At that moment, I swear, I saw it. The flicker of desperation. Like if she didn't get that dream house, her kid would become a supervillain. And honestly, I respect the hustle, but no, I did not have any Barbies in the back. After a year of dealing with coupon warriors, coin collectors, and Tyler, I finally snapped. It was a Sunday. It was busy. And Karen Prime was at my register.
I need to return this.
This is a half-eaten rotisserie chicken.
Yes, and?
Ma'am, I looked around. Greg wasn't there. The cameras didn't care. It was time. No. Her eyes widened.
Excuse me?
No. And then she gasped. A full, dramatic, Oscar-worthy gasp. Like I'd slapped her with the chicken instead of refusing the return. She called for the manager. And Greg? Greg took one look at me. One look at the half-eaten chicken. And simply said,
Yeah, no, that's disgusting.
And just like that, for the first time ever, the customer was wrong. For the rest of the day, I had the biggest grin on my face, randomly evil laughing in the middle of checkout. Nothing could bring me down. I still quit the next day though, because victory doesn't pay minimum wage. Moral of the story? If you ever go to a grocery store and see a cashier who looks like they've just returned from war, just be nice. Say please. Say thank you. And for the love of God, don't pay in nickels. Not kidding, bro.